Smoothest Mango here, starting off with a fresh review of The Last of Us. Game came out ages ago, 2013, if some of you even remember that. Some of you were born in 20 and, ugh. But this game broke hearts and set a lot of standards in 2013, and today we're going to review it. Does it still slay in 2025? Folks, this game is all about Joel and Ellie's epic journey across zombie-infested America from East Coast all the way to West Coast. Post-apocalyptic, it's all bad. It's nasty. It is a Naughty Dog masterpiece, and I gotta say, spoiler, it is emotional, it is brutal, and it is still an incredible game 12 years later. If you like these kind of videos and you want to see more, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe below, and hit me up in the comments with your thoughts on the video. Alright, folks, as always, I am grading on 6 criteria: gameplay, story/world/characters, music and sound, graphics and art, replayability, and of course, the overall vibe, the X factor.
No. Come on, people, move.
What are they running from?
Yep.
They're running. I'm trying
too.
Oh no.
Like, don't get me wrong, when the Brits queue,
You can't stop here, Tommy.
I can't fucking drive
through them, Joel. Back up there. They're behind me too. There. Hold on. Go.
I actually decided I want to kick off with story this time around because I think for Last of Us, you gotta start there before gameplay. And the story is The Last of Us soul, which is why we're starting with story this time around. Joel is a grizzled smuggler and Ellie is a snarky teen, and the two of them are bonding in this broken world that is the post-apocalyptic United States. And like all good stories, it starts in Boston. That's not true. Very few good stories start in Boston, but I did. Thanks, Mom. The overgrown cities, desperate survivors, the world feels so alive. I think one of Last of Us' greatest qualities is how real the world feels. And if you test the limits of it, if you really push on boundaries, on characters, on during stealth areas, you will see the holes. You will see, oh, this is a game. But if you walk through the story the way it's designed, it is nearly flawless, and I'll try to avoid spoilers for the sake of it. But characters like Tess, Bill, Tommy, it is really, really well done. And if we talk just pros, the cinematic narrative is one of the best stories you will find in video games. I mean, it is a horror survival game. We'll get to the gameplay, but the dialogue, the characters, the twists, the turns, the gameplay is an amazing vehicle, but what makes the story so good is that it is like you're walking through a cinematic universe. It's unbelievable. And 12 years later, I played this when it first came out in 2013, playing it again 12 years later. Honestly, I loved it even more because the nature of Last of Us story isn't about being this great big hero saving the world. It's about showcasing all the things wrong in the world and how good people deal with difficult situations. And you see that from Joel's perspective, you see it from Ellie's perspective, and you even see it from the perspective of a few other characters throughout the game. And if you go into this game with an open mind and don't expect anyone to wear a halo, you will be blown away by the story in this game. So, Last of Us story, it has to be S tier. I don't know how I could go anywhere else than S tier for Last of Us story.
Our beef isn't with you. We just want Robert. You don't want to do this.
Turn the fuck around and leave now.
I'm not going anywhere without Robert.
Bitch, I will bash your skull unless you turn around and get your dumb ass out of here.
Fuck this.
Take cover!
You ready?
Yeah.
And that brings us to gameplay then. So gameplay is stealth action survival horror. And what that means is resources are scarce. Stealth actually matters, not in this pseudo way like Assassin's Creed, like where you can just, go guns blazing because there's really no limit, because as long as you can parry, you're fine. If you pull too many enemies in Last of Us, you're gonna get zerged and murdered. You don't have bullets for everything. So you do actually have to create a balance. A little bit of stealth, a little bit of action. It's really well blended, and it doesn't feel overly punishing. You're scavenging for supplies, which feels meaningful and exciting to look for those nooks and crannies, to get really excited about finding bolts to upgrade your gears, to craft shivs, to open, secret doors. The balance between choosing to stealth or just activating chaos is really well done, and honestly, 12 years after the fact, this game is remastered, but the gameplay still pulls really well. Listen mode is one of the things that allows this to really shine. It's a stealth game, but in listen mode, you can see the silhouettes of characters through walls, effectively giving you, if you could hear better, you'd kind of know where someone was. And it's just, it really allows you to enjoy the tense nature of the stealth, the brutality of the combat. Don't even get me started on how bloaters kill Joel. And every resource feels precious, which in a horror survival is one of the most defining characteristics of making the gameplay feel real. And I love it. And that's to say nothing of crafting a Molotov mid-fight to throw up a bunch of rogues, which is just, like, there's something special about, well, that's gonna make me sound like a pyromaniac, but trust me, crafting a Molotov mid-fight, never a bad life choice. Now, the cons for gameplay, because remember we are reviewing, we do have to be a little critical here. There are limits to the exploration. There are a lot of times we'll kind of walk around and feel like I should be able to move around more here. This is kind of just funneling me, which of course is what the game is doing. But sometimes it feels a little obvious. And I don't mean that just like a little nitpick. It does feel a little obvious. It is a bit of a failure of Last of Us to make it seem really funneled sometimes. But more than that, AI companions, Ellie, and especially Sam and Henry, who you'll meet midway through the game as other NPCs, they can glitch and just look ridiculous. Now, one thing they did really well is your allies cannot alert enemies. There are other games where that is possible, and so your allies glitching is like the worst thing in existence. Your allies cannot alert enemies, so even if they're running around in the open and they should clearly be seen, they don't break that. But it is still a little annoying. So other than that, like, you can't dodge. It's a little janky. Like, it's really well done, but there's a little bit of jank to it, so I don't feel comfortable giving gameplay an S tier. I think gameplay, I give it A tier. It's solid, it's enjoyable, but it's not flawless.
Yeah, me too.
Good old Boston rain. It's summer,
You
at
know-
least it'll be warm.
I've never been this close. It's the outside. Look how dark it is. Can't be any worse out there.
Yeah. Let's talk music and sound. So, music for the game was done. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. I believe it was a Gustavo Santaolalla. Please correct me if I'm wrong or if I'm mispronouncing that name horribly. But the acoustic score for Last of Us is beautifully haunting. The guitar, which is a huge bass use throughout the game, hits you right in the feels. The sound design for the game is insane. Clicker screeches, creaking floors, like the feel of gunshots of the bow, incredibly immersive. And the voice acting by Troy Baker and Ashley Johnson in particular is absolutely S tier. It is exceptionally well done. The audio does what it is supposed to do in a game like this flawlessly. The tension, the emotion, I mean, the chills. Oh, wait, when you rehear like the theme of this game and other things, you'll remember it forever. That's what you look for in the sound and audio. You want it to seamlessly immerse you in the game, and this game does it flawlessly. I honestly, I don't personally have cons for the sound. Yeah, I have no cons for the sound effects. I guess the only con for a sound effect I could give is if you wait too long, the voice acting lines on randos like just seem stupid. But that's after you wait like 3 or 4 cycles of them, and that's super nitpicky. Sound for Last of Us is S tier.
So is that everything you hoped for?
Jury's still out. But man, can't deny that view.
Come on, this way.
I mean, if you spent your
Hey,
entire life inside the
pick it up.
quarantine zone. Graphics and art. So, now remember, this was a 2013 game, but it was remastered in 2022. The remake is stunning. Overgrown cities, the detailed models, the lighting. I mean, it's pretty damn close to flawless. So my PC is very potent. I am playing this on PC and reviewing it based on that. The world is gorgeous. The visuals absolutely pop. And it honestly, it's not selling it. It's not overselling it to say it feels like a movie that you are actually playing. The con I will give it is that as someone who has a really powerful gaming PC, I've got a 3080 NVIDIA, I've got a good graphics card, great CPU. The lighting, if you walk into somewhere that's spore heavy, which are dust particles in the air, and there's either water or ambient light coming from a window per se, and you've got the flashlight in the game on, what it does is it creates a mathematical nightmare for the GPU figuring out how the light refracts, because the graphics are so good they account for that. But when you catch those scenes, the program in the game, instead of saying, let's chill for a little bit, says, let's blow up your computer. I've had to restart the game a couple of times because the GPU just falls apart. It's not my GPU, it's the programming the game saying, let's do mathematical impossibilities with your computer. It is very rare. It's an easy fix. Oftentimes, if it happens, it quickly resolves itself when it realizes stop doing that. But there are situations that really blow it up, and that is a programming issue. But it's a nitpick. The graphics and art, I think they're S tier. Yeah, so we're gonna stay in S tier for that because it honestly really is.
What's the ETA?
Couple minutes.
Jesus.
Fuck! I thought we were just gonna hold him up or something.
Oh, shit. Look.
Let's talk replayability. So, when you think about replaying a game, usually you think about new content. You think about, what makes the game worth going into again because there's new. And I think Last of Us breaks the mold for me a little bit because despite the fact that nothing changes, it's a cinematic, movie experience, I think the replay value is actually really strong. There's no story choices to change like we saw in Mass Effect. You don't find new things for the most part, but grounded mode is a brutal difficulty setting. You can change the difficulty to make it harder. You can do New Game Plus to search for collectibles. But one of the big things for me is the story is so good that it actually bears watching a second time through and just enjoying more. Like I realistically see this being a game people pick up once every other year just to re-enjoy the story because you're familiar with a lot of the areas you slow played before. You kind of blitz through them, but it feels good to kind of run through them because you know what's happening. So the gameplay is such that it doesn't feel redundant or monotonous. Honestly, I see this being a game that really has good replay value because the emotional story just begs for that revisit. And as far as cons to replayability go, it's got to be the linear structure like we talked about. There's no branching choices like an RPG, but I do think it's still surprisingly enjoyable replayability despite the lack of differentiating paths in that replay. And so I think I honestly still give this an A tier. I mean, maybe B if I'm really nitpicking, but the fact is, it would be fun to replay the game.
It's the Fireflies. The Fireflies.
What?
Look, they're basically all dead. We can just go in there, finish them off. We get the guns. What do you say? Come on. Yeah, fuck those Fireflies. Let's go get them.
That is a stupid idea.
Okay, so overall vibe, the vibe for Last of Us, it is raw, it is heavy, it is gripping, and it is definitely emotionally draining, but in that way that makes you feel like you've accomplished something, not in that way that makes you go lie on your couch for 6 hours binging social media. It's a father-daughter trip through a zombie hellscape. It blends hope, it blends horror, and this journey of Joel and Ellie together, the way it unfolds, the decisions they make along the way, and ultimately where they're going and how they resolve the issues the game presents. It is absolutely fantastic, and I think it changes the way people think about video gaming, and I think it changes the way people think about the perspective of difficult situations. And so overall vibe, I've got to give it an S tier. So let's get out of A here. This is an S. And I think that segues very nicely into the wrap-up, which is just Last of Us is Game of the Year for a reason. It was given Game of the Year pretty unanimously. I think it has a somewhat legendary status, and I think it earns it. The gameplay's tense, the story's a masterpiece, the music is haunting, the graphics are outstanding. It's got good replayability. Watching people play it for the first time is always fun, which for, a streaming setup is really important. I mean, final score, it's gotta be 9 out of 10 mangoes. It is a must-play game, even if you're not a huge on horror survival. Like, it transcends the genre. So if you've never played it before, you should play it. Alright, folks, that is it for Last of Us. If you like this video and you want to see more of them, make sure to drop a follow below, hit that subscribe button, click on the thumbs up. Only the thumbs up, not the thumbs down. We don't like thumbs down because plum falls off your thumb. Which fairy tale character put their thumb in a plum pie and I don't know. It's a story somewhere. That's all I've got, folks. Have a good one.